Alright guys, so here's the deal. I just finished recording my Marvel Collector's Core unboxing video. If you want to watch that, here's a card that links to it right here. But I would prefer that you stay here and watch this video. But feel free to click on that one too and watch it later. Now I'm recording this section on Wednesday, December 20th. Thursday, December 21st is shaping up to be one of the most amazing days of my life. I have had the thing that I am going to tomorrow night planned since it went on sale in September. I think it was September. And then the thing before that, I have also had planned since the day that I bought the tickets because it was all part of the ticket package. But here's the thing. Yesterday, a guy I used to work with texted me and he was like, hey, here's this truly incredible opportunity. Would you like to partake in it? And I was like, yes, that would make that day even more amazing. So, without further ado, let's see how that day turned out. As I said, this is the night before, so I don't know how tomorrow is going to turn out. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be just truly spectacular. So, let's go ahead, roll the thing, and meet up with me in the morning. Hey guys, Sean here. So it is 10:58 in the morning and I am currently headed to Universal Studios. Not the theme park, the actual studio. As you saw in the cold open, I'm going to a concert tonight. Well, the person who that concert is for is going to be performing on a TV show called Home and Family, which I haven't heard of, but a guy I used to work with works on that show and he was like, hey, do you want to come by and watch the performance? And I was like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. So that's why I'm headed to Universal Studios right now. So I'm going to try and vlog my adventures throughout this day. Unfortunately, this camera, what I call my vlogging camera, the Lumix, is not charged. I thought I charged it the other day, and then when I tried to use it today, it just died instantly. So I don't know if there's something wrong with this camera, or the battery, or just me. It's probably just me. But yeah, it didn't charge, so I won't be using it. And I forgot my Nikon camera, although that probably would have been harder to take around to things, so that's not so bad. So I am stuck with my iPhone, although my iPhone is starting to die as well because it is a 5S, and I have had it for, well, however long it's been since the 5S came out. I think it's telling me that it's time for an upgrade, so hopefully in the next few weeks I'll get around to doing that. But as for now, let's head on over to Universal Studios and hopefully actually get in. I have heard so many horror stories about people going to studios and their name supposing to be on the list, and then you tell the guard at the gate your name and that it should be on the list, and they're like, you're not on the list, get out of here. So, I am expecting that, but to be fair, I expect that everywhere I go, even if I have a ticket. Like, I'm expecting that for when I go to the show tonight, when I hand them the ticket, and they'll be like, this isn't a real ticket, and then I'll be like, oh, okay. Well, I did pay for it, but you don't seem to think it's a real ticket, so I guess I gotta go. It's kind of a weird, low self-esteem thing. Anyway. Universal. So I'm in the parking lot now, just waiting for a golf cart to come pick me up because I'm kind of a big deal around here. So that went flawlessly without any sort of hitch or anything. I was really, blown away by it. I'm just always so afraid. I mean, like, people that are, like, seasoned actors have this thing as well that's called imposter syndrome, where they feel like at any moment someone's going to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, what are you doing here? And then they're like, oh, yeah, sorry. And so, yeah, the fact that I was just a guest of a crew member of the show, I had that the whole time, just like, oh my goodness, I'm totally going to get tapped. But everyone was so nice and so like, oh, hey, yeah, we're so glad to have you here. And okay, so here's the deal. The name of the show is Home and Family. It's on the Hallmark Channel. And it's hosted by Mark Steinis and Debbie Matenopoulos. And so for the show, the guest that I was here to see did a quick interview and then performed a song, and then that was it. But luckily I got to watch the rehearsal for it and then do the camera blocking and all that stuff, and then I got a picture with her and the guy that got me onto the set as well, because he's a huge fan of her as well. And then I got to watch the performance, and then that was it. That was a nice little, like, beginning to this day. So that was such a great thing. So now it is about 1:30 p.m. I need to be to the Microsoft Theater at 3 or 3:30, I think. So I'm going to head there now, and then we will continue on this incredible day so far. Oh, and also Lori Loughlin from Full House is in the next segment that they're currently recording. And so she was sitting in the front row of the audience as well. So that was kind of cool. But I digress. It's getting kind of hot in this car, so I need to turn it on so I can turn on the air conditioning. So time to go. So this is what we got so far. We got a lanyard, Lindsey Stirling, says VIP, warmer in winter on the back. And then there is a VIP ticket. It is lenticular. Ooh, lenticular, if you will. And then a signed poster. I love the way they have the costumes over there, because they're just in regular, like, stage cases, and they'll just wheel them from city to city and then just put them in wherever they're doing this thing, and then open them up and plug them in, and then that's it. And they close them up, put them on the truck for the next state or city or whatever. It's so brilliant. We are now just waiting until there is the VIP meet and greet, and then after that there is a private performance, the Q&A, and then the show. So let's see if I manage to get anything else the rest of the evening.
Be the runner-up. Dang it! I want to be that girl that got second place.
You're up.
Could have been Frankie and gotten third. I'm grateful. No, I actually.
So we have now completed the meet and greet, the Q&A, and the private show, which was just played one song, Round Table Rival, so that was awesome. Round Table Rival was Wyndham's favorite song of hers. Now we have 17 minutes of other public free merch shopping, because since we're all VIPs, and then at 8 o'clock the show starts. So, it's actually the next day after the concert. Last night when I got home from the concert, I was just so tired from such an amazing day that I couldn't film the part here to close it out. Went to Universal Studios. I was originally under the impression that it was very far away from the backlot, but no, it was all just part of the backlot tour. In fact, there were trams going by all day long. And basically what happened was when I got there and got in the golf cart took me like deep into Universal Studios. So while there, got to see a Hollywood production being done, which I haven't seen for like 9 years, back when I was doing extra work in TV and movies, and that was always one of my favorite things about doing that, was just seeing the production being done, just all of the stuff, and just how amazing sets are. Like this show, which was Home and Family, which is on the Hallmark channel, and hosted by Mark Steinis and Debbie Matenopoulos. Remember Debbie Matenopoulos? She was one of the original hosts of The View, and I think she was the first person to be either kicked off The View or just quit The View because she couldn't stand it anymore. Why do I know that? Okay, now I gotta make sure that is right. That is right. And it's sort of just like a daytime talk show sort of show. Kind of more like Martha Stewart Home than, say, Ellen, because there's not like a huge studio audience. There's just more like little segments and that are like shot in this house that's on the Universal backlot. But you know, it's not a real house. It's a house that has no roof. Well, it has a roof. It just doesn't have a ceiling because they have stage lights put up in the ceiling. And then in the backyard, they have like a gazebo set up, and they have musical acts that perform there. And so I got to see Lindsey Stirling rehearse for this. And then I got to talk to her and get a picture. Here's the picture. It's of me and Sean, who is the guy I used to work with that works on that show now and got me in. So I am very grateful for that. And also everyone that worked on the show being so nice made me feel very welcome. It was just a great experience overall. And then also one of the best parts being Lori Loughlin, who played Aunt Becky on Full House, being there to be on the next segment, and watching Lindsey Stirling geek out about Lori Loughlin. That was really cool. So then, once she did the actual performance, they brought in other people to fill the audience. They were all Hardys, which, okay, now I gotta look this up really quickly. So Lori Loughlin is currently on a show called When Calls the... Oh, not current. Well, is it currently? Since 2014. Okay, so it's been on since 2014, and it is on the Hallmark channel. So there are all the fans of that show that were there, and they call themselves Hardys, apparently. Did not realize that show has been on that long. I thought it was something new. Definitely, I was not in the demographic of that show. But then again, I was not in the demographic of the show that I was there to see filmed. So then, once Lindsey Stirling finished her segment, because she had a hard out at 1:30, which, I mean, I also did, because I had to go to the same place that she was going. I almost wish I could have, like, been, hey, could you take me with you? Because I gotta go there too. Then I would have had to find a way back to Universal Studios to get my car. Although it would have saved me $30 in parking. So then got my car, drove to downtown LA to the Microsoft Theater, which is next to the Staples Center and the LA Convention Center. I believe they do the Grammys there. Had about an hour to kill, so went and got lunch, dinner, whatever that combination is called, and then went back to the theater, got in line for the VIP, got in, got the lenticular ticket that I showed you earlier, got the badge that I showed you earlier, got the poster I showed you earlier, and then walked around, looked at all the stuff. There was all of her costumes there. Well, there were some of her costumes there, and then two of the violins that were in that case, she actually used in the show that night. And then it came time to get the photo taken. So first they had to separate the VIPs, because there were the VIPs that had the blue wristband, and then there were the VIPs that had the silver wristband. I, of course, had the silver wristband because I do not have any sort of kids or girlfriend or wife or anything like that, so the only person I have to spend money on is myself. And this was the only concert I went to this year, I'm pretty sure. So we all lined up, they went over the rules, don't have your phone out because you can't take a picture with your phone because we have a professional photographer, so there's no need to take a picture with your phone, so just put it away because we don't want to see it. Makes perfect sense. It makes things go much faster. Don't hug her too hard. She's a tiny, frail, little pixie and you don't want to squeeze too hard. Completely understand that, especially because if you watch Dancing with the Stars, she gravely hurt her rib during that, so it's probably still tender. Do not pick her up. They mentioned this last year too, when I went to a meet and greet with her. Apparently a lot of people like to pick her up, but as I just said, tiny little pixie, so I'm not surprised that happens. Do not give her anything to sign. That's why they handed us a poster that she had already signed, so perfect sense there. And don't try to give her any gifts. That also makes sense because then they have to gather all these gifts and then figure out some way to transport them from the venue to wherever gifts go. Now, to be fair, it was LA and she lives in LA, so it would have been much easier for that, but still, I completely understand why they have that rule. It's really just to get things to go faster. So we went through and I walked up and she was like, oh, hey, that was really fun this morning, wasn't it? And I was like, yes, she remembered. Because when I met her in the morning, she didn't remember that I had been to a meet and greet at one of the shows last year. But really, I mean, she probably had meet and greet with over the course of all of those shows that she did last year and all of the shows she's done this year. She's probably met well over 2,000 people in that time, so I'm not the least bit surprised. Got the picture, started to head up the escalator to go into the theater to watch the Q&A and private performance. But as I was walking by, her band members were there, Kit and Drew. Kit plays guitar and keyboard for her band, and then Drew is the drummer. And so I walked up and I was just like, hey, did you guys end up getting to talk to Lori Loughlin this morning? Because it looked like Kit really wanted to talk to her because he was all excited to see her. I mean, it's Aunt Becky from Full House. Why wouldn't you want to talk to her? Although, to be fair, I didn't necessarily act all like I wanted to talk to her, but I was on a mission. And also, that would have been, I would have had to stick around like for another hour probably or something like that, or 5 minutes. And I didn't want to take away from the Hardys' time, because I'm sure they wanted to talk to her way more than I ever would have wanted to. So Drew was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily want to talk to her all that much, but this guy, yeah, he was totally, and I was like, yeah, I totally saw how you were looking at her. And then Drew was like, oh, by the way, this is his wife, because there was a girl standing in between them, and it was Kit's wife. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, it was completely innocent. It was nothing bad. And then she's like, what are you guys talking about? And then they were just like, oh yeah, well Lori Loughlin was on it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you guys later, as he was explaining. And then I walked away feeling very awkward. I'm now double checking to make sure that his name is actually Kit and not Kip. It is Kit. So then went into the theater, there was the Q&A and the private performance. She did an acoustic version of Roundtable Rival, which I've said many times on this channel is my favorite song of hers, and it turns out it's probably her favorite song of hers as well. Then we had an hour of public free merchandise shopping, and basically, like, before they brought in everyone that wasn't VIP, we were able to go to the merchandise line. And I didn't buy anything because I got all this other stuff already, so it was, what else could I possibly need? And then they were like, come back between 7:30 and 8 back downstairs to pick up your snow globe. Now see, what they did is they took everyone who got a picture with her, they took the picture and they put it in a snow globe. And I was very surprised at the size of the snow globe. So here you can see on one side here, there is the album cover for Warmer in Winter, and then on the other side is the picture that they took. Now, one of the problems that I do have with the snow globe is the fact that the snow is actually sticking to the inside, because the picture is, within a protective thing within the snow globe, but the snow is sticking to that. So that I'm not necessarily happy with. But other than that, this is really neat. This is a really neat little keepsake. I was kind of surprised because I'm like, oh, the globe is made out of plastic. It's very light plastic, but it makes sense. I mean, they mass produce these. They give out like 200 of these every show, so they have to be easily produced. And then it says Lindsey Stirling Warmer in Winter Christmas Tour on the base as well. So that's a neat little keepsake, and I believe that they are also going to email the picture to all the people that got the picture. Oh, that was another thing. They said no group pictures. It was only one-on-one pictures, and it was for this very reason, because imagine a whole group of people in this image, and they say it makes it harder to figure out who's who. Which I could see because of the format of this picture. If you had a bunch of people in it, the picture would get smaller and smaller, and then it would make it very difficult to see. And seriously, everyone paid, like every ticket came with one of these, so why wouldn't you get, because if you did a group picture, then you would end up getting less globes, if that makes sense. So after picking this up, it's back into the theater for the show to start. Mark Ballas, who was her Dancing with the Stars partner, and his wife have a band called Alexander Jean, I believe, and they were the opening act, and she is like Stevie Nicks and Janis Joplin rolled into one. She has a very, very powerful voice and is very bohemian rocker, I believe, is a term that she used at one point. You know, very flowy and scarves and just bizarro. And then he's an amazing guitar player and singer as well, and apparently he played Frankie Valli in Jersey Boys for like a year on Broadway, and you know, he's also like a world-renowned ballroom dancer. It's just crazy how much talent that guy has. So they were really good, and then Lindsey Stirling show started. I don't know if you could notice from what I showed of the concert in the earlier part of this video, but I was sitting in the very front row. Like, I was sitting at the stage, and that was just truly amazing. There were a few times where the monitor speakers got in the way of seeing things on the stage, but other than that, it was just so amazing. And then at the end, when they had all done their bows and they were walking off, Drew, her drummer, he was like, he pointed at me and it was like, hey, and I was like, yay. He remembered earlier when I had the awkward conversation between him and Kit's wife. So yeah, that was a truly amazing day, and as I told Sean, as I was sitting on the set of the show watching her rehearse, I was just like, I feel like a Make-A-Wish kid, because it's like, how is this my life? How is this happening right now? I'm sad that I'm only going to be able to go to one Lindsey Stirling concert this year as opposed to 3 like last year within 5 months, but that was a bit ridiculous in all actuality. But I have now seen her where they do the Grammys and then also where they do the Oscars. So all in all, just the most magical day imaginable. So I think I've run out of things to say about yesterday and how amazing it was. So that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of the crazy crap that goes on around here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to help support the crazy crap that goes on around here, go ahead and hit up my Patreon. And with that, have a good however long it is until you watch my next video.